Hello guys, welcome back to the next tutorial. In the last one we talked about comparison operators, and in this one we're going to talk about Boolean operators, and I'm going to show you how they're useful. So I just created this new Python file called boolean underscore operators.py, and we have three major kind of Boolean operators. The first one is AND, the second one is OR, and the third one is NOT, and they're really pretty easy. So as the first one refers to AND, let's talk about it. So if I have two outputs from somewhere, if I have two values, the first one is true and the second one is true, the AND is gonna result me an output of true. And if the first one is true and the second one is false, since one of them is false, AND is gonna result false. So basically it just takes both the things into it. So if both are true, then only it's gonna return me true. Otherwise, if any single of them is false, it's gonna return false. If both are false, then definitely it's gonna return false, right? Now let's come to the OR one. So as the name refers, it's kind of opposite to AND. If any one of them is true, if the first value is true or the second is true, it's gonna return true. That's obvious. But if the first is true or the second is false, so since one of them is true, as it says OR, right? True or false. If one of them is true, then it's gonna return true, right? And if both are false, then obviously it's false. Now let's take a look at the NOT one. So NOT says that whatever the output is, I'm gonna reverse it. So if the output is true, and if I say not true, it's gonna make it false. And similarly, not false is true. So let's talk about some real examples. So I'm gonna say and output 1. So we want to reach this condition, right? So let's take the first one. So the first one is, let's talk about maybe 10 is equals to 10. This is true, right? And let's put and here, and the second one is true. So maybe let's talk about 10 is greater than 9, so which makes both of them as true, right? So let's print it out. So and output 1, and I'm gonna just save it and run the code, and it's gonna print out true. So it yielded the result as true, right? So now let's achieve the second condition. Now let's try to see that. So let's rename it to 2, and the first one is true, so we can leave it as it is. The second one is false, so I can say 10 is less than 9, which is false. We know that, right? Sorry, I have to say less than. So we know that it's false. So if I print this one out, I should be getting the result as false. So let's run the code, and it says false, right? So we got it. Now let's try to get the third one. So to get the third condition, we need both of them false. So I can say 10 is greater than 10, this is false, and that 10 is less than 9 is definitely false. So let's run the code, and we get false, right? So we got all of these examples for the AND conditions, right? So this is what I meant when we said that two outputs, the first comparison operator output and the second comparison operator output, right? Now let's take a look at the OR output. So OR output and 1. So I'm gonna take the same thing. Both are true, so definitely it's gonna give me true, right? So OR output 1, and it's gonna give true because both are true. The first condition is anyways true. This is true. Great. So now let's take a look at the OR output. So OR output and 2. So what we need is the first one as true and the second one as false. So we can just copy this condition, right? This says first one is true and the second one is false, but this time the output is gonna change, right? And when we were using the AND Boolean operator, we got false here, but when using the OR operator, we will get true here. So let's see this. We will print out the OR output 2, and we get false. Looks like some issue is there. So we are using AND, still we are using AND. Sorry about the typo, guys. So we have to use the OR. So first one was true anyways, so we couldn't notice it, but this one we got the notice, right? So now I'm using OR. So let's run the code, and we get true. So this is what I was talking about. So I can show you the first one as well pretty quick. Now we changed it to OR from AND, and this is true. So that's pretty good, right? So now let's talk about the third condition where all of them are false. So let's copy this right away because the condition is false, and let's change the name. So our output 3, and the condition, both the conditions are anyways false. So let's print this out. Let's print this out and run the code, and it says false. So this is pretty good, right? And pretty easy also. So the last one, let's talk about the not one. So not true. So I'm gonna say equals to, I'm gonna say not, and I'm gonna say some true condition. So 10 is equals to 10, which is obviously true, right? This is true. And when I say not in front of it, it's gonna make it false. So I'm gonna just print this one out for you guys. So let's print this out and let's see what it prints. And it printed false. And that's what we expected, right? So this is true. So let's see. Let's just for fun, let's remove it. And now let's print it. So it prints true, right? That's correct because 10 is equals to 10. As soon as I put not here, it's gonna change the output to false. That's what we were talking about. So similarly, let's have another one for not false, and let's say not, and inside put a false condition. So 10 is greater than 10. This is a false condition because 10 is not greater than 10, it's equal to 10. And let's print not false, and we should get true, right? So when I run the code, I get true. So this is what I was talking about, guys, when I said that these are Boolean operators and we can utilize them for using the comparison operators in conjunction and other stuff. So this is going to be pretty handy when we're going to be working with if and else conditions going further. So stay tuned, just practice them a little bit and come back with the questions if you have any. So stay tuned for the next lectures, guys, and thanks for attending this one.